Okay, so what kind of situation do we have at the moment from a Euro AUD perspective? Let's start from the weekly time frame. Now here in the weekly, we can clearly see that the market has basically been rejecting this very strong previous resistance here, resistance again here, resistance here, and all this resistance is now turned support at this area. So the market has been rejecting a previous resistance, now turned support from a weekly perspective. Another thing that we can quickly realize if we look at the market from a weekly perspective is that we have previous support here as well, turn resistance here, and in fact the market has already been rejecting this area. So what we can quickly understand is that the market is trapped in between this very strong weekly support and this minor weekly resistance. Going down on the daily time frame, what we can see on the daily time frame, we can clearly see that the daily structure aligns perfectly with what we have already spotted from a weekly perspective. In fact, we can align these two levels with a way easier format. In fact, we can realize that the support from the weekly time frame can be clearly identified here from a daily perspective as this double bottom, and the weekly resistance can be clearly identified by this green candle here. In fact, in this move to the downside, there is only one candle that is not related to the move to the downside, which is this green candle here, showing that the market had found support at this area, which is now turned resistance here. So from the weekly, we want to see the market go higher and bounce away from that strong structure. On the same time, on the daily, we have resistance at this level, meaning that until we will see a clear break above this area, the market is trapped in between the weekly support and the weekly resistance. So basically inside of this zone. Now, if we go and see what is the situation from a COT perspective, so what hedge funds are doing at the moment from an Euro and AUD perspective. Now, this will help us understand overall what we can expect from the Euro AUD. So let's go and start from an AUD point of view. What are hedge funds doing on this pair? We can see that overall, with the last report, we can see that they added 2.1k short position, bringing the short exposure at 45.88%, with net positions going even lower at minus 35k. So AUD continues to get weaker. If we go and see what is the situation from a Euro perspective, what we can see. On the Euro, we can see that overall, with the last report, the net positions still more or less remained the same. So not a big change. But if we look at the longer term, okay, look at the longer term. We went from minus 114k net positions to plus 78k net positions. So from a situation in which we had shorts outweighing longs to having a situation where longs are outweighing shorts. Therefore, Euro is getting strong. So strong Euro and weak AUD, which aligns pretty well with what we want to see from a technical perspective on Euro AUD. So basically a bounce away from this weekly support area. So from a daily perspective, what do we have to wait for before we can even start considering possible longing opportunities on this pair? We have to wait for the market to break above this area. Why? Because this is strong daily resistance. But if the market will manage to break it to the upside, it will become strong daily support. So after a break above this area, this previous resistance will be turned support. And after a retest of this region, then what we will be doing with students? On the retest, we will be monitoring price action from a 4-hour perspective inside of this area, waiting for the market to shift from a bearish market to a bullish market and for the market to provide basically to us one of our valid entries. And if the market will provide to us one of our valid entries, then we will be taking a nice long with a good risk to reward and good probabilities for a nice move to the upside. So recapping, after a break and basically an impulse to the upside that breaks the structure on the retest, we will be monitoring with students for a possible longing opportunity if our rules will be satisfied from a 4-hour entry perspective. Now, if you enjoyed this free analysis and education, make sure to drop a like and a comment. It really does support the creation of more free education and analysis for all of you, and I will see you in the next video.